First step you want to do, get into our My Leagues tool. You want to use this My Leagues tool, our RotoWire's My Leagues tool for all the features all throughout the season. It really helps you when you're trying to, go through your free agents, try to figure out your starters, trying to figure out bye weeks, your draft strategy, all that and more. We're going to go ahead and pull up how to sign up for My Leagues. Go to the Fantasy tab, you go to NFL, you click Tools, and you click on My Leagues. Very simple, very easy. And you're going to go to Add a League. See, I already have done that a number of My Leagues already. Click Add a League, and then you click on NFFC because that's the platform. But you can see we got ESPN, Yahoo, almost anybody that has it runs leagues. We can help you do that. Load in the settings there and go after it. So I'm going to click NFFC. I'm going to go ahead and do that. You can add one of your current leagues. I've got the RotoWire Online Championship right here. Going to go ahead and click on that right now. We're importing that league. And then you just click on Save Your League Details. And it's really, really simple. Right up at the top, NFL Draft Kit, right there. You're already signed in. You have your RotoWire subscription. Very easy. Click on View Tools. Very simple. You got our Fantasy Football Draft Kit. You've got our Draft Assistant. I use that for the Scott Fishbowl, by the way. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but very, very nice. We've got our mock simulator, and that's what we're going to use today. That's what we're going to show you how to do that. So go ahead and click on that, View Now, and you'll see. And you can, you can do a different number of different options. If you're starting from scratch, you just start a mock draft, pull in, you can see, and then you can see, you can load settings from your league. And there you are. All the leagues that I've added in My Leagues, they're right there. So here you would go ahead and select the RotoWire Online Championship. Very simple, very easy. Type a draft. This is important because the NFFC uses third round reversal. So you can simulate a mock draft with third round reversal. You can even select your team. You can see all the teams that are in my league. Here I am. It's me. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. The scoring settings, the roster settings. You can customize the draft order. This is where you can do that. You can set the draft order. Got the first pick. Voila. What happened there? We've got our options here for us. I selected the option there, by the way, to help me. Hey, you select my draft strategy. I'm going to go along with it there. I obviously have my own preferences. I can override, obviously, what's happening here, and I'll show you many ways we can go ahead about doing this. But hooray for me. Jeff Erickson, Bengals fan, gets the first pick, gets the consensus #1 overall pick, Jamar Chase. Not going to put too much thought into this here. My plan all along is to go with the Bengals stack. Let's go ahead and draft Jamar Chase and see what happens. And there you have it. Jamar Chase is gone. I've taken him, and you can see the simulator is going through and making all the picks. And you can see exactly that we've gotten voila, we've gotten 22 picks later. I'm back on the clock. What's happened here? Let's take a look at the draft board. I've got my pick of Jamar Chase at 1.1. Guy named Dallas Stars took CD Lamb at 1.2, Jefferson 1.3, Barkley 1.4. So very wide receiver heavy draft. Someone got a windfall there. It's just, hey, the NFFC has a lot of wide receiver happy drafters. So you can see the receivers are getting pushed through a little bit. 1 quarterback, 2 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds. Okay, what am I going to do? Well, if you know me, you know what I want to do. I told you, I'm going to be building a Bengal stack. My whole point of this exercise is to figure out what a Bengal stack looks like. So, and keep in mind, this is third round reversal. So I know that I'm picking at pick 24 here, folks. And after that, I have to wait all the way until pick 36 for my next draft pick. Then I get the 36, 37 pair. So this is an important pick. I need to figure out what I want to do. I didn't set the settings to say to be aggressive towards stacking. You can do that, though, with the mock draft simulator. You can set your settings how you want. So guess what? It's suggesting Josh Jacobs. I'm going to be a little bit of a rebel here, folks. So I'm going to take another running back here because I'm going stacking. Let's go with Chase Brown here, knowing that I have to wait now 12 more picks after this. Let's see what this brings. But, I want to go with 3 Bengals to start the draft and see how that plays out. So Chase Brown, come on down. All right, more draft picks are coming off the board. We're going to show you again what it looks like here. You can see now. You can see that we have another quarterback that went off the board, and Jaden Daniels in the 4th round. 2 tight ends are off the board. No surprise there, Bowers and McBride. I would have, if I was not building a stack, I would have taken Josh Jacobs. Instead, he went with the very next pick. And you can see my guy T. Higgins went. I wasn't going to go 4 players in a stack. I don't think that's necessary. I think 3 players is sufficient. A lot of fun stuff you can play around with there, and you can see what it looks like there as we're trying to build our table here. We're trying to build our stacks. Again, This is a little fun way to kind of, you can see everything on the tool, using the tool there, you can see your options. So let's go back to my suggestions here. Well, again, if I'm not stacking, they may suggest a couple of different options, a couple of good wide receivers still out there. By the way, I get 2 picks here. You can see, you can go by best by position. Joe Burrow, voila, is there. And keep in mind, in the NFFC, quarterbacks get 6 points for a passing touchdown. So a quarterback like Joe Burrow, who threw 49 touchdown passes last year, guess what? He's going to be higher ranked in the NFFC than he's going to be elsewhere. Guess what? That works out pretty well for me. I'm pretty happy with my choice there. It was going to be that option there. I'm going to get either another running back or another wide receiver with my subsequent pick. I like my options. So you got best by position. You got best by ADP, who's going to be gone. If you're kind of worried about that sort of thing, if you feel like you can kind of beat the system. And by the way, use the NFFC's ADP tool if you want. I'm going to show you a screenshot of that later on. Our partners over at the NFFC, they do great work there. You can sort by date. You can sort by type of contest, all sorts of good stuff. So I'll be showing you that in a little bit here as well. If you want to go for a little bit high variance, it shows highest upside players there. You also have safest players by position. So you can kind of see lots of different ways. If we get into our dynasty or rookie drafts, or you just really want to take some upside rookies later on, here are your best available rookies too. All right, we're going to make my next pick here. I am going to go with Joe Burrow to complete the Bengals stack, and I'll get off my homerism after that. So Joe Burrow, you can see all the notes that we have. Number 1 QB left on the board, last in the tier. We like that. Yes, same bye week as 2 other players, because that's right, they're teammates. But if you're looking later in the draft, okay, you see that he's in week 10 in his bye week. You're gonna, and you see that right there. You can see same bye week as 2 other players. You can look at all the different ways there, even the latest note on players there, that he's going to be playing more in preseason games because the Bengals have gotten off to terrible starts under Zach Taylor. They're going to do a little bit differently this time. So let's go ahead and click on Joe Burrow. Yay. Yes, we're winning. In my mind, we're winning because I just got my Bengals stack. How are we going to build the rest of this team? Let's have a little bit of fun with this here. All right, now this is where the draft really truly starts for me. Now I have to make this tough decision. Do I go with a receiver here? Do I go with another running back? All right, I think there's one running back I want to take, but there's also but if I don't get him, I'm willing to wait on that. I think that the wide receivers are going to go through a run here because so many running backs have already been taken. I am going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. I have some concerns about what the Cardinals didn't do this offseason, but I'm going for a little bit of upside here. We have a need. We need to start at least 3 receivers plus a flex. More often than not, I like wide receivers in my flex spot. So Marvin Harrison, come on down. Boom, here we go. Number of different players coming off the board so fast. I love seeing that there. Instead of a mock draft where you're waiting for that one person to stall, I am that one guy here because I'm trying to demonstrate things. All right, let's take a look at that board again there. You can see what's happened since then. Got Kittle went in pretty short order. Jalen Hurts went. We're starting to get into that tier 2 wide quarterback zone. Nothing against Patrick Mahomes. Nothing against any other receiver quarterback that goes next. That's a gift to me. I've already taken my quarterback. I want to see quarterbacks go off the board. Yummy. Let's go. To the top, the next tier of tight ends has started to go. We got Hawkinson, Laporta going off the board. Got Omarion Hampton was the running back upside I would have taken there. He went at 4 point. No surprise there. A lot of receivers flying off the board. All right, let's take a look and see what we got available next. So if you want to go by, again, let's go by position this time. Let's take a look at the receivers that are available. George Pickens could have a huge year in Dallas. Jameson Williams, interesting. Boomer bust guy for me. I'm not sure I'm going to go that route. I just don't trust the volume. Tet McMillan, really love the upside. Again, interesting situation there in Carolina. Is he going to be their number 1 right away? We'll see about that. Travis Hunter, I have my doubts about him. Juwan Jennings, Calvin Ridley, you can see some of the options. I get 2 picks here, folks, so keep in mind, I'm going to go at least 1 receiver with these 2. I'm also probably thinking about running back. We'll see about this point in time. If I wait on running back, how bad's it going to get? How low am I going to have to dig deep? I have certain options I like here. I might go, this is one thing. If you can go straight with your suggestions. You can use your own experience, your own preferences there to kind of decide. I'll tell you, I will not be drafting a tight end now. I won't be drafting a tight end the next pair of picks probably. That's the position I'm going to wait at with this here. And hey, this is a mock draft. I want to see how it plays out. What happens when I wait? So we're going to get 1 running back and 1 wide receiver for this pick. Let's shoot for the moon with George Pickens. I like the setup in Dallas. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I am not going to go George Pickens. You want to know why? Right there. By week 10. I already have a number of guys at by week 10 right now. This is something you should be paying attention to when you're taking a look at your own roster there, where you're looking to see where do you have your bye weeks. You know, and that's one thing. You go to your roster, if a Bengal stack week 10, week 10, week 10, should probably be avoiding week 10, at least for one of my early picks. So I like Pickens so much, but I'm going to pass on that for now. I'm going to go a different way instead. So instead, let's take a look. I'm going to go with Ted McMillan. I think the top rookie wide receiver in this draft. I trust the volume. He's not coming back to me. It's not like I'm paying the outrageous Marvin Harrison Jr. price from last year. Kind of ironic that I have Harrison Jr. on my roster to go with McMillan. Let's come on down here with that. Now, I've got 3 receivers. I've got 1 running back. I've got 1 quarterback. How am I going to go next? Am I going to go with another running back here? Which one would it be? It will not be Aaron Jones. I share my colleague Nick Whalen's fear of Aaron Jones this year. The fact that they brought in Jordan Mason. Not going to go that route here. Which way am I going to click? I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift. Again, this is a PPR league. I'm going to just go with the recommendation here. Different bye week. The Bears did very little to improve the running back room. Swift has his faults. He also is going to be in what we think is going to be improved Bears offense. Let's go. All right. Another set of picks flying off the board here. Boom, 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 boom. You can look and see what we're going to go with here. And the great thing is I can do this for every set of picks all the way through round 20. Yeah, that's right. Round 20 in the NFFC. You can dig very deep. You can see exactly how you're going to build the rest of your roster. You can see exactly how you want your team to look. One of my guys, Khalil Shakir, is there for me. I love it. I'm going to be taking him. So now I've got 3 receivers in my flex. I'm going to be able to build it how I want. Let's go by best buy available by position. Haha, I'm not taking a quarterback. You guys can take Jared Goff. I love Jared Goff, but I don't need him for a long time. Defense wins championships, but not in fantasy. Kickers, I don't play. Nobody plays in a kicker boosted scoring league. If you do, well, I suggest you play in a different league. But he's still hovering like an angel. Brandon Aubrey is there. You can go ahead and look and see all your options. Likely gone. You're using ADP sources. I told you I was going to show you the ADP of the NFFC. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So you can see what it looks like there. I've got the RotoWire Online Championship for the last 3 weeks. You can go by position. You can go by teams. You can see who's going to be available. This is a really good guide. If you want to do a shorter period of time, you can see, but this is 40 drafts. So you can see how many drafts has been. You can see the range there. I love their ADP tool. Obviously, we do the RotoWire Online Championship there. So we love them. So you can see the sources you can use. Upside players. Maybe we're at that draft where it's time to take a swing. You can take a look there. Jaylen Warren seems to be hovering again like a lot there. Caleb Johnson goes before Jaylen Warren in every league, but I'm telling you guys, Warren's going to get a lot of playing time. I know there's been a lot of buzz in Jacksonville about Bishal Tootin. I kind of like Travis Etienne still. I know there's some buzz on Tank Bigsby running with the ones. We'll see. I feel like I have options here. I like that there. I want to be able to get another, and this is one of the reasons why I'm going to wait on tight end, so I can get volume at running back there, take some stabs in a couple different places. Let's take a look at my roster again, and you can see, where my bye weeks are for my running backs. So bye week 5 for DeAndre Swift, bye week 8, bye week 14, bye week 7. So I'm good with that. I probably want to avoid week 5 for another running back at this point in time, if possible. It's not really that super important because I'm going to be drafting like 6 running backs. So, I will probably take the guy I like the most. In this case, I think it really is Jaylen Warren. So I'm not going to worry about the double bye week with him and DeAndre Swift both. Let's go ahead and take Jaylen Warren with that pick. Then I've got one more spot to, and then we've gotten our 2 picks there. You're going to run through all these players, so on, so forth. You go through all 20 rounds. You can see your final roster. You can see how it plays out. And I encourage you to run through the drill the whole way through when you're doing your own mock draft. For the purposes of this video, we're going to stop here, but it's really important to kind of just get an idea of the depth, especially if you haven't played in the NFFC before. Like I know many people play for the very first time. Really get to know what's going to be available to you in round 15, what's available in round 17. When should I start thinking about defenses? When should I start thinking about tight ends? I think it's really important to do that there. See, I'm waiting on tight ends here. I'm at the 9-10 turn. Could Could I go Jake Ferguson here? I could go Tucker Kraft here. I like both of these guys quite a bit. And that okay. So I waited on tight ends and I found something I really like. I found a couple of players I really like. If I go a little bit even later, I could go with Zach Ertz. Notice Isaiah Likely. He's been downgraded in our projections already because of the injury he suffered on Tuesday. So pretty good that it shows up right away lower in the rankings there. I'm going to go with Tucker Kraft on this one here, and I'm going to finish with that because, hey, what video isn't better by finishing with Tucker Kraft?